What up, my dead skis? We got us some of the test training Supercross tracks on Supercross 3. I really wanted to sit down and dedicate a full video to this just because this has really impressed me. This has really honestly shocked me that Milestone has went through the effort to put a total of, I think there's like 8 or 9 full-blown outdoor actual Supercross tracks in the game from the default base version of the game, okay? You know, you got all of your like 17 normal in-stadium Supercross tracks, and then you've got a whole nother area of the game, a whole nother side of the game, which is like these 9 different Supercross testing tracks, and then obviously the motocross track, and all of these Supercross testing tracks and the motocross track are in the compound. So, but you can go in there and also, like in the multiplayer lobbies and stuff, you can choose between the normal, you know, like Anaheim 1 and all those kind of tracks, and then you like hit the left bumper or the right bumper, and it takes you to all of these, you know, the different Supercross testing tracks and the motocross tracks. So it is so much fun to have this kind of variation to the game where it's like, you know, just the second you start feeling like some of those normal in-stadium Supercross tracks in the game are getting just a little bit boring or a little bit repetitive, then you come to these, you know, outdoor testing tracks, and it's just like a whole different kind of track design, a whole different kind of game. That's what's so impressive about these, is they are so different designed than the standard Supercross tracks in the game. You understand what I'm saying? That's really what I'm trying to get at here. That's so impressive to me. And by the way, they do actually have tough blocks on these tracks when you do the raceable versions of them. I'm just on the free ride compound version of it right now. But dude, like, this is so sick and it's added so much to this game. And this is what I've been saying since the very first Supercross game, right? You know, I've been talking about like, oh, well, you know, they could really use like some more of actual outdoor Supercross tracks in their games, you know, whether it be like a outdoor Supercross track in a snow biome or a tropical biome or whatever the case may be. I just always thought, you know, that was kind of crazy. I mean, you know, some people, when it's the official Supercross game, they act like the only thing it can have in the entire game is the in-stadium Supercross tracks. Like, dog, even if they don't want to put a lot of motocross track content into their Supercross games, they can still do a lot more than what they were doing in those first 2 Supercross games as far as Supercross track content. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I was trying to get at, talking about those first 2 Supercross games not having really any of these cool, interesting, you know, fully outdoor. These are basically just like custom Supercross tracks right here. I know some of these, I do believe, are actually based on real life, like, you know, Kawasaki test tracks and Honda test tracks and KTM test tracks. Hell, all of them might be based off of that. I don't really know, but, you know, they got a really cool, different feeling to them. These are more kind of like you would consider, you know, how real life test tracks are always a little bit different than like the real life actual, you know, Monster Energy Supercross tracks. Well, they absolutely nailed that sort of difference of feeling from the actual in-stadium Supercross tracks in this game versus the outdoor Supercross compound tracks in this game. They literally nailed that feeling so well. These tracks are a little tighter, a little more like 1-to-1 scale. You know, especially when you get the tough blocks on them, it gets hectic as shit when you're in there racing with a full gate of people and there's like, you know, super tight corners everywhere. It just made basically like a whole different racing experience in a sense. Basically, you know what I mean? It's almost like they have these tracks kind of feel a little more like arena cross, supercross hybrid style tracks to me. So it's cool. You get like a lot tighter racing, a lot of a different kind of supercross racing experience on these tracks. And then when you get a little tired of that, you can go back to the normal in-stadium supercross tracks, which are also pretty varied in and amongst themselves. You know, some of the standard in-stadium supercross tracks, some of those tracks are like really pretty narrow. Some of them are a lot wider, right? You know, that they have just really impressed me on the overall variation side of the track content design in this game. I certainly think they could have done you know, one or two more motocross tracks and the actual national outdoor tracks in this game, and that would have just only elevated it and made the game even better, right? But I think they're really starting to get that you got to have a little more track content than just the standard 17 in-stadium rounds of the real-life Supercross in the Supercross game. You know what I mean? It's like they're starting to understand that now. Thank you, Milestone. Dog, I've been saying that forever. I mean, forever. And finally, they're starting to get it. And it just adds... I mean, it's insane how much just having 9 more of these little outdoor Supercross testing tracks and then that one national track, how much more that really adds to the longevity and the replayability of the game. It's insane. It literally makes me want to play this game twice as much as if, let's just say this game only had the standard 17 in-stadium Supercross tracks in it like the first Supercross game had. I wouldn't even have wanted to have played this game for probably half the amount of time. But on top of all that, it having the more advanced physics system and the more, you know, the more inertia and all that kind of skill gappy feeling to the rhythms, that also makes you want to play it more. So there's all these other elements coming together that is really giving me more of a, man, dude, like I really want to sit down and play Supercross 3. And I've already been playing it for a week, and I still want to sit down and play it some more. You know, I don't even think I've actually rode on this track right here yet before in the game. That's so cool. Like, and then you got the custom track side on top of all that even yet still, right? So that's, you know, a whole nother kind of side level and tier to it. But I'm just really impressed. Let me actually go to the raceable version of some of these, and I'll show you some of the different combinations you can get going with this stuff, because it's really interesting. Okay, so this is kind of like whenever you choose your tracks to race on, whether you're in time trial or you're in an actual event, you can literally come through here. You have all the official tracks, right? The 17 official track rounds, and then you come over here to compound tracks, and typically on just about any other Milestone game out there, you have all the official tracks, and then you go over to like their other tracks in the game, and there will be like maybe 2 outdoor Supercross tracks here, and then 1 MX compound, whereas this game has 8 different individual Supercross training tracks on it, and the MX track on it. It's like, dog, yes. This is that kind of content I've been talking about, and that kind of shit that keeps you invested and keeps you wanting to play it. And then you go to here and you get all the online tracks, right? Let's go to this Compound 8, and you know, and then you can go to the wet track versions of it, or the rain versions of it, or the clear versions of all 8, and the MX track on here too, on top of all that. That's what we'll put it on the rain mode just for the shits. But that's what I mean by how, you know, this is what I've been saying. They were always just lacking. It always felt to me like those first two Supercross games were kind of like about half of the amount of content I expected to be in a newer AAA, you know, Supercross, motocross game, whatever, right? They were about half that amount of track content. So, but just look at how different these tracks can feel and look, not only having the rain mode on and all that, but also once you start getting the tough blocks on it, it gives it a whole entire another different feeling to it, right? So I love their thought process of wanting to come in here and, you know, it'd be one thing if these 8 more Supercross tracks just felt pretty much exactly like all the other in-stadium, you know, 17 rounds of the in-stadium normal Monster Energy Supercross tracks in the game. It'd be one thing if all these just felt like that, but just without a stadium, then they wouldn't be that interesting. But it's the fact that they really put the time in to make these little training compound Supercross tracks feel so different, man. They really give you the vibe like you're on some sort of real-life training Supercross track. They got a lot of weird, interesting little sections where there's like little narrow areas and little spots on the track, little goofy looking kind of wore down spots on the track that you would expect on a, you know, kind of a random backyard built Supercross track or something. You know, they got all these cool little things going on. So all I'm saying is don't sleep on these compound tracks right here, dude. These things can be so much fun to ride on in the multiplayer lobbies. Man, don't sleep on these things, dude. These are sick. So I just wanted to come out here and give Milestone a little shout out for this. This was really, really cool to see this. I love I love everything about this sort of aspect, and I really hope they continue to do this in future official Supercross games. Dude, I love that triple N right there. Whoever you boys got designing your tracks now, that dude's got it going on, dog. He knows how to make a track fun in an arcade motocross game. He knows what's up, right? And whoever's working on your physics, specifically in-air physics, he knows how to make it fun too, right? He knows how to make the inertia of the bike give the game longevity and give the game more skill gap, but that's got to work in combination with the track designer so it all matches up properly. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things. If you had like really good physics but terrible tracks, then it wouldn't really be all that great. So they kind of go hand in hand, but they got a really cool system going here for Supercross 3, dudes. They really do. So I'm very, very impressed by this. So either way, just letting you guys know, I'm uploading like a madman, so if you don't have me belled, like the notification bell turned on YouTube, you're definitely going to miss some of my notifications. So, yeah, I'm going to keep this uploading train going for the next couple weeks here, so we're going to keep this vibe going. I'm really happy about this game. I'm still having fun with it. I've never been able to say that about any of those other Milestone games ever before. I've never really been sitting there still having a lot of fun with them, you know, a week after I got the game. Like, I mean, I would still go back and play some of those older Milestone games here and there, but I basically just lost interest and they got pretty boring to me in the first week. Whereas this game, I'm still interested in it, still want to play it. There's still a lot of other aspects, fun things to do in the game to me. And these compound Supercross tracks are just one of those other elements that just really, I feel like really perpetuated this content to another level in this game to me. So either way, guys, yeah, I'm not really sure which ones are based upon which real life, you know, actual like manufactured testing tracks. I'm sure somebody's probably made a video on that, or they went in there and really explained which ones are which and whatnot, but I don't really know. I just know they're really cool and they feel different from the normal tracks in the game. So, you know, it's what I've been talking about this whole time about. It's all about the variation of it, man. That's really what it is. You never want to have a motocross or a supercross game come out and then every track just feels the same. You never ever want that, because that's what starts to make it boring in your brain. That's what starts to make it repetitive in your brain. But when you start having different track designs, some tracks with a lot of ruts, some tracks with not a lot of ruts, some tracks that are narrow, some tracks that are wide, some tracks that have big jumps, some tracks that are smaller 1-to-1 scale, you know, you do all that variation vibe to it. And in a way, you kind of make everybody happy in a sense, you know, because you make the dudes that want more of the 1-to-1 realistic stuff happy because they can get on here and ride on these outdoor supercross compound tracks, and you also make the arcade dudes that want like a little bit bigger quad rhythms and fun, like slightly more to the scale of unrealistic rhythms. You make those dudes happy too, because you have some of those tracks in the standard indoor stadium tracks of the game. So you've really, like, you're finding a way to, I feel like, make everybody happy and keep everybody interested. And I'm just really, really impressed by this, guys. This was just one of those aspects here. I was like, dog, yes, I did not expect this to be this big of a deal, but it's the fact that they have so many of them in the game. They literally have 8 of them and the MX compound track. It just takes her to another level. So, yeah, either way, shout out to you, Milestone. You keep on impressing me, dog. This is too cool. This is what I've been wanting to do ever since Milestone's been making games. This is why I've made all those rant videos and said all the things that I've said. That's why I did it, because I wanted them to get to this point, and finally they're here. And I'm out here saying it, dog. I'm out here saying it. Yes, you're doing good. You're doing right. This is what I wanted. Like, yeah, I'm not saying the game's perfect, but God, it's so much better in so many ways. And I'm not scared to come out here and say it. Some of you dudes thought I was some Milestone hater. Now you're going to call me a Milestone fanboy. You motherfuckers going to have to make up your mind, dog. Like, damn. That's just funny. It's funny because that's never what it really was. It was never me being a Milestone hater. I was just telling it like it was. And that's just what it was. So, some of you boys need to just suck it up and realize that. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.